Hello again, this is Javier, the CEO of Smarter Path, an AI agency where we build custom solutions for businesses such as customer support, sales agents, lead qualifying agents, and things of that nature. If you haven't watched the previous videos where I introduce how easy it is to build workflows in NA10, feel free to watch it before watching this one because we're going to be building something a bit more complex today. We're going to be building a lead magnet generation for our cold email campaigns. Cold email these days is more saturated than it used to be, and to break through the noise, we are going to create lead magnets for each one of the leads that we're going to be reaching out through in this campaign. So let's go into the build. So the first thing that we need to do here is we need to get into Apollo. Apollo is the place where we're going to be finding all of our leads. And here I've already selected something in Spain, 1 to 10 employees within the dentist sector, and an owner. I have just one person, so it's going to be really easy and fast for us to do this build, in the sense of we don't have to iterate over 1,000 clients before we start seeing any results. It's going to be a lot faster this way. So now we're going to have to take this URL to be able to find it through Apify, which is a great place to find all sorts of scrapers, which is what we need right now to get all of the emails for all the users. So we're going to take this one, which is a good one that I've tried in the past. And here we're going to go into the API to understand how this works. Okay, so this is what we have here. If we're going to do an HTTP request, which is what we will do in NA10, we can take this right now. Great. So we can take the URL here, and we're going to go into NA10 and we're going to add an HTTP request. We will focus about the triggers later on, but for now we can just go with this. Import the C URL and see if it imported properly. There we go. Here we need to put our own API token, and here we'll have to send all of the body and everything else that we need. So we'll focus on that in a second. First, let's get actually the API key. So let's go to my console here. So let's copy to clipboard the API token that I have here, and let's actually add it here. And let's keep it fixed, of course. And then we're going to be sending instead of using the fields below, we're going to be using JSON. And here it's going to be easy, just because we're going to be copying it from before, where we were in the agent that we had here. So information. No. Information. So here we can see the sample output data. No, and then in the input, sorry. So here we can see the JSON, and we can see this is the format that we need. So we can just paste it here. And here, instead of this URL that they have here, we will put our own from our Apollo search here. And we'll just add it right here. So let's execute this step and see what we get. Perfect. So here we have the ID of this search along with all of the data about it right now. Fantastic. So we don't have any data here. We just have access to the run that we made on Apify. So now we need to actually access the data on Apify that we have just created. So we need to create another HTTP request. And we have to go here into the runs. So this is the one API. We go to the API, and here we need to get the data sets that we have just created. So we're going to copy this, and this is the URL that we have to put here. And here, instead of doing that API, actually let's just add it directly from before. We also have it here, so we can just copy and paste from here our API key. We can add it here at the end. And then the other thing that we need to change here is the data set that we're searching for. So in this case, what we need to have is the this specific run, which is this one. So this is what we need. So F4D, so the ID here. So that's what we need to put in here in the middle. Not here, but actually right here. There we go. So now if we execute this step, could not be found. Oh, apologies, it's not the ID, it's the default dataset ID. Apologies about that. So it's this one here. We need to bring here. Let's execute the step now. There we go. So now per Vid Hansen, let's see if this is the one that we have. That's exactly the one we had here. So now we have actually the data from this person right here. So now with these 3 steps, we actually have the data for this person, everything that we need to know about him. So their LinkedIn page, their website, their email address, their business phone number maybe as well. This is the address of their business address. Here their physical address as well, etc. So we have all the information that we need here, and we're going to start leveraging the different parts of this information step by step. So what we would have here is we're going to have a loop item, just because generally speaking, we will not be having just one item. We would have maybe 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 leads coming in, and we're going to be iterating through it. So now we're going to add here the HTTP request again, because we want to scrape, in this case, their website. So we literally execute the previous nodes. Let's just execute the workflow. We need to put here, but we need to execute the previous nodes to know what we put here. Let's see into the previous executions, what we come up with. So let's see here what this, we want to basically get the URL. So let's do it with schema, and we want to take this, the website URL. So this is what we want to get. So if we run this again, let's actually pin the data here so we don't have to rerun every single time that we are testing. Okay, we cannot pin that. So let's do this again. And now we run this one. Let's scratch the last few minutes. And now we're gonna get another HTTP request to basically get the website's URL inside. So we're gonna be adding this here to basically scrape the website. So we have now all of the information from their website, and that's part of what we're gonna be leveraging now in the build to create a lead magnet adapted to them. So now we're going to extract the text from the HTML, extract HTML content here. So we want to take the text, and the CSS, we're going to take all of it, and we're going to keep it like this. So execute this step. Fantastic. So we now have all of the text from the website. We can see there's some things that seem to be in Swedish, but let's see what we can get. There's also a bunch of images, which is not the most useful stuff, but let's just skip everything to avoid having to go through too much hassle to basically go through this build. Now we need to add some some code, because otherwise it's going to be a bit messy when we add it to the AI agent. So we're going to have a couple of code nodes with some code that I'm going to copy and paste. And what we can do with these types of nodes where we are putting code that maybe we don't fully understand, we can just go directly into ChatGPT and ask it, what does this do? What does this code snippet do? And we put this in between quotes to facilitate it for him. And let's see. It's sanitizing and extracting plain text from an HTML string, typically in a workflow automation context like N8N. Exactly what we're doing, line by line. So what we're doing is retrieving the text property from a JSON object, which is expected to be an HTML string. Fine. JSON text is undefined or empty. It defaults to an empty string, so then we avoid having errors. Great. We are replacing here, removing all of the HTML tags by matching anything that looks like a tag, replacing multiple white space characters, removing any headline or trailing space, and finally returning an array with a single object. So this is exactly what we want to do here. So let's execute this step. So we have everything a bit nicer than we had here, basically, a bit easier to process. Then we're going to have another to clean the text, basically another code node. And here we're going to do exactly the same. And again, what we do here is we paste it to ChatGPT so that it explains to us on this one. Clean up text data, particularly removing content in square brackets and URLs, things of that nature. Fantastic. So it's basically doing that, and we can read the full explanation, but it's a fairly simple one. There's a few lines, but not very much, with some comments in Spanish in this case that ChatGPT wrote for me when I wrote this code. So execute this step. Again, we keep something simple. And actually, before going into the AI agent part of things, what we're going to be doing right now is renaming these blocks just to be a bit clearer on what each of them is doing. So now let's go into the AI agent side of things. So right here, we're going to do an AI. And we're going to just do basic LLM chains. And we're actually going to be tying two of these together to take care of two different parts here. And both of these are going to have two things in common. So they both have an output parser afterwards. So we're going to just add it quickly right here. Then we'll start adding the inputs that we need in each of these. And then they're both going to be having a Gemini 2.5 flash right here. And let's keep the temperature low, so 0. Great, let's save it for now. And let's actually connect this to this one as well, so there it's available for both. So what we want to do here is extract data from the profiles, right? So let's actually call it that. And here we're going to be defining it right here. So what we want to do here is give it a role. So you are a helpful, intelligent data extraction assistant. Let's make this bigger so we can see it clearer, and let's actually make it also wider. Good. So now the task. This is proper prompting technique as well. So we use Markdown with the hashtags, and we give it a role, a task, and everything else that follows, where we will also be giving it rules as well as input, output format, things like that. The output format, even though we will also be doing the output parser, is still useful to give it a specific output here. So your task is to take as input a bunch of unstructured information about a person's website and their LinkedIn profile, and then convert this into the following JSON object. Let's avoid typos, since this could actually lead to obvious issues in the quality of the output afterwards. So what we want here is website context and then person context. And then unique angles that we can get here. So this is the kind of thing that we want to create. So now let's put some dashes here to separate. So you'll receive all of the data you need in an unstructured string. Your task is to parse that out and turn that into the above object. So now let's put some rules here. The rules are as follows. 1. Go deep into detail for website context. Write at least 2 paragraphs. For person context, use all of the data available. 3. For unique angles, use the website data and the information about the provided person to create 3 interesting points that we could write about in a later article. 4. Return any new lines as n. This is important because otherwise we will have issues later when we try to parse it in a set node. So it's important that we don't have new lines. Instead we have this character, which is the new line character, so we avoid issues in the future. So keep it below 300 words as total. Then input, we have the website scrape, which is the following. Great, and then we have the output format, which we already kind of covered here. Let's actually make it nicer below. And this would be pum, 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 and pum. And then each one of these this one is fine to keep it nice. And then the personal information here. So let's go into the user data. So let's do first name, let's do last name, let's do LinkedIn URL, title, there was job title here somewhere, the ones that we actually go in order. So here, title, organization name, seniority, city, country, let's do the organization LinkedIn URL as well. The address could be interesting as well. Let's see, keywords, let's actually add them as well because this could be useful. The SEO, I don't think this is that relevant, and the organization short. Short description could be useful. And the text tag as well. So let's just keep it at this. Let's see if there's anything else that could be relevant, but I think with that we should be fine. Let's make it a bit thinner to see if we can see the names a bit more clear. Okay, there we go. Let's add actually also the number of employees. So let's say employees. And that right there. And I think with that we should be fine. Okay, let's go into the next node here. So let's save it. And here, what we want to do is generate a newsletter actually with the information that we've got from the previous steps as well. So we're going to define below as well here. And again, we're going to be doing a similar thing. So here we look for the role. So you are a helpful, intelligent newsletter writing assistant, and your task is to take as input information about a website and a person, and then return a customized so remove typos, polished newsletter that I will use as a lead magnet to sell them on stuff. Keep it below 500 words should be fine here. So what will be the inputs here? You'll receive your data in JSON using the following format, which is the one that we had before as well. So let's just actually copy and paste it directly. This is the format that we're gonna get. So let's just go here. Example, to write your newsletter, you'll be using the following example. And here I'm copying and pasting directly an example that I have from a newsletter that I enjoyed from Nick's Arrive. So I'm just gonna copy and paste it because I like the style. So it's a fairly long newsletter, so the ones that we will be building here are gonna be a bit shorter. And here let's actually do, and I'm gonna copy and paste also from here directly, just because we have the data here, the first name, just to sign the newsletter. All right. Then after this, we're gonna separate again, and then the output format. Return the entire newsletter in Markdown, so ATX format using this JSON. And here we're gonna give it a new one right there, perfect. And here title, subheading, and then newsletter body. And with that, we should be fine right here. So let's save it. Oh, we didn't actually add here. That's my mistake. So actually we're gonna have to redo this probably, because we need to add this format into the output parser, which we forgot to do. Exactly. That's the error that we got. It doesn't match the format that we have here. So this is the format that we want. So we want to rerun that. Save it here. And then here we also had the format we wanted to get from here. So let's actually we're gonna copy it as well on the output parser, so we don't run into that issue when we try to run this node. Good, now we got a good output, so let's actually pin this so we don't have to rerun it in the future. Here we have it well, good, save it, run this, and I'm gonna be pinning actually the previous nodes as well, just to avoid having to rerun anything if we have any issue coming up over the next few nodes that we need to create. So we don't need to rerun anything. So the node was executed successfully. So let's see what we got here. So title, Beyond Tools, Cultivating Connection in the Hybrid Workplace, Unlock Productivity, and Team Cohesion in Your Remote or Hybrid Startup. And then we have the newsletter. And as we asked, the new line characters is with the /n. So this is really good for us. And actually let's actually check here the word count. Let's use the Hemingway app. Editor here. Let's see how it evaluates what we just wrote. 598 words is a bit more than we asked. Here we would just be separating like this, and we can just check the quality by removing a bunch of these things. So it was at grade 16 level. Now it's gone down quite a lot just because we're simplifying the way that it's written. So it's getting a bit better. It's now grade 15. Hopefully by the end of this, we have it at like a grade 8 at most. But obviously with all the characters that we have in the middle, it might be challenging. But it's not terrible at the same time. Some of the phrases are a bit complex. Isn't this? The red basically means that we have sentences that are hard to read because probably they're too long and too complex. If we do this, that simplifies things. It's a really good tool to edit writing and to verify if AI's writing is good quality, basically. So we're at grade 11, so it's going down fairly fast thanks to this. So let's see how we end up turning it out. Okay. If this output is good, then we can assume that we would have decent output in the future as well. It's true that some of the sentences are very long, so we could actually add this to the prompt to make sure that either we keep it at a low grade reading level. So here we have like, it's fine for what we're doing. This and this are fine, so not a big issue here. If we were going to be giving a more finished product, then that would be a bit more relevant. Grade 10 at the moment. Let's see if we can simplify a bit more what we have at the top. So remove stuff like that, because that's not needed. There as well. Here, let's simplify this. Yeah, this is not simplifying too much, but okay. Okay, so we are at a grade 10 reading level, which is not great, but it's also not too bad. We can ask it to simplify a bit more the output, but it's not too bad. And we have 575 words, which is a bit more than we asked, but it's also not too many. So if we had here the name of the person, so what was it in our case? We have it here, user data, per. So we can just write it like per here, and we have it signed. You can also follow us on LinkedIn, for example, here. And then we have the newsletter written out. And we could obviously simplify it ourselves here, but it's not necessary. It's more efficient if we just modify the prompt slightly. We're not going to do it right now because it's not that relevant for this demo. But if you were doing it yourself, I would simplify I would adapt the prompt a little bit just to make sure that we don't have any issue with the writing style or that it's too complex or anything like that. But it's still pretty good nonetheless. So now we're going to be adding a markdown node as I just did. And here what we want to do is basically go markdown to HTML to basically add this into a Google Word document that includes basically the formatting that we have here. So the markdown here, we're gonna have we wanna start basically saying hi to the user. So okay, first name, good. And let's just have a nice message at the top for him to basically read it out. So let's have a nice message here for the user. Basically, so let's say hi to him, and then to be at the top of the document, put this together for you. Let me know your thoughts and if I can help in some way. No, giving value upfront is how you get ahead in our industry. So hoping this helps. Let's keep it casual with an emoji here. Right there, good. And now what we want to have here is basically, first we want to have as the main header the title. Then as, why did it leave the title here? Good. Then here as the subheader, so a double hashtag, the subheading, and then after that we just want to have the body. So 2 down and the newsletter body. Good. And from here, let's get out of here. So here we can see how this would look. And we have actually 3 for lower level titles. So this is good. And now what we want to have is add some properties here. So automatic linking to URLs, yes please. Backlash escapes HTML tags, yes. As well as complete HTML document, yes. And then emoji support, as we just added an emoji, yes please as well. And then header level start, we want to start at 1. Good. So now we have this, we can pin this, which we forgot to do before, and now we can just run this. We can pin this as well. And now from here, what we need to add is a set field. And in this place, what we're going to do is the document name, the HTML content. So we're going to map manually, yes. So first, we want to add the document name, which we will base it off of the name of the user, so user data. So first name, this is the document name. As a string, and here what we're going to have is for the username, custom newsletter. Then for the HTML content, we just want to have all of the output from here. And this is HTML content. And again, we want to have it as a string. And then the drive folder ID here, which is something that we need to basically create right now. So we're going to go here. We're going to create a new folder. New folder right here, and this is going to be YouTube lead magnets. And in this folder is where we're going to be adding everything. So we want to link it to this folder right here, which is the ID of the folder, that part right there. So we're going to add it here. In the meantime, we can close these other tabs, which we don't need to use anymore. And here we're gonna add a field. The field here is gonna be the drive full ID. Good. So now we have everything right here, and let's execute the step. See that it works well, good. And we have the folder ID, fantastic. Let's also pin this to avoid issues in the future, good. And now we just have a couple more steps to run, which is some code basically to make sure that everything is properly parsed. So this I'm gonna just take that I've already made. You can check the exact thing that I'm writing here, but this is basically to make sure that we have everything properly for the Google Word document that we're going to be creating, to make sure that it has the proper format. Great. So basically just parses everything and makes sure that everything is properly formatted, so that when we go into the Google Word document, we actually have the formatting that we have made sure that that we were getting. And now we are gonna do an HTTP request here. And actually, let's name things. Edit fields is fine here, but here we are parsing. Parse for Google Doc formatting. Good. Save again. Pin this as well. And now the HTTP request. Good. And here what we want to do is basically connect to Google Drive. So we're going to be posting into Google Drive. And this is the URL for this, Google APIs, uploading Drive files. And here we have to do predefined credential type. And here what we have is different ones, so Google Drive. This is the one that we have in our case. And Google Drive account, all right. And then send query parameters using fields below. So it's upload type, and it's multi-part right here. And then supports all drives. And true. No headers, but we do want to send the body, and the body content is gonna be raw. Good. And the content type is the following. Sorry, content type is this, and the body is the JSON, the raw data. And that's it. So we want to execute this step. File not found. So we may have to go into different credentials. So let's see what other ones I have. All right. Let's see the ones to my name. So there's no matching data here. Okay, so let's see Google Ads. So if we can't execute this step, okay, so credentials may be file not found. Okay. Drive folder ID, okay. Okay, actually, let's see what can be happening here, because there's an issue somewhere. What? Oh, the HTML content, we don't have the HTML content. We've brought in here the data. So instead of this, what we need to have is the data directly here. Okay, there we go. So let's unpin this data, execute this step. There we go. Now we have the HTML. Pin this again. Then we and pin this again as well. And execute the step again. We pin it again just in case. And then we make the request again. And now we should have a new document being created here. Great, there we go. So now we see properly how we have it formatted. So hey Perth, put this together for you, let me know your thoughts. And now we have everything properly formatted with the bold, with the different header levels, which we actually have the index here for them, etc. And now they can add here their LinkedIn platform, their names or the team name, whatever the case may be for them. So this is it. This is how we create a automatic lead magnet for prospects. So as you can see, that is a great way that you can start building lead magnets for your leads and your prospects, for your cold outbound campaigns, for your warm outbound, anything that you like. You can build lead magnets super easily, automatically through this. If you've enjoyed the video and if you watched till the end, feel free to subscribe. And if you have any questions or feedback, please post it in the comments. We will get back to you on all of them. Again, I am Javier from Smarter Path, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye.